We are playing today a special one-shot with characters apart from the Tales of Terralina main game. And we have two guest players with us today. So we'll start with introductions and then I'll move on with the premise and a little bit of setting.
Hi, I'm Allison, she, her, and I usually play Zeta, but today I'm playing Astur, they, them, who is a Order of Scribes wizard, level 10. And they are an Arakokra, based on the secretary bird, which is a real life bird, but they look really cool. And I'm excited to play.
All right, Josh, returning member, who are you playing this time?
I'm Josh, he, him. I am playing a stout halfling named Merric Greenbottle. He is a monk ranger on a adventure seeking his long lost parents.
All right, KC.
Hello, I am Casey and I am a guest. I am she, her, or they, them. Either is fine. I am playing Brent Wolfram, he, him, who is a black-skinned tiefling armorer who has come quite a distance from where he was before, as he was recently trapped in a terrible place and wants to put as much distance between that and his current location as he can. So he is not going to think about where he was before and explore this new region.
Okay. And next we have
Travis.
There we go.
Thank you. I figured you might not remember. I am playing Caitlin Kind. She is a barbarian babysitter. She keeps kids in line by yelling at them in Goblin and telling them scary stories of things that her younger brother Calvin Kind saw in literal hell. So she basically is a order of, or not order, was it ancestral guardian barbarian? So she's like protects people and keeps the world safe. She has a small amount of bard to do things like slow fall to catch small children when they trip, and produce light. So I have all of the babysitter tropes. Basically, I'm a human. I imagine that Caitlin wears, well, she's unarmored, but something that looks kind of like rough and tumbly, like I'm a kind of a rugged person to try to make kids a little bit intimidated of her so that they might respect and listen to her. I imagine she has dreadlocks. I don't know why. I just kind of like that. And she's mostly easygoing and just wants to find out. She heard her brother has encountered a bunch of crazy shit in the world, and he's told her about it. So she's like to find out more of those things for herself, so she can pass those stories along and continue to keep kids in line with the knowledge of the crazy things that are out there. I don't know. That's her MO. Barbarian, rogue, bard.
For the new players, my homebrew location of Terralina is essentially on a flat plateau with a steep, kind of a steep drop. Sits 3 separate cities, and this Tri-City area is collectively known as Terralina. They're split into diamond, platinum, and emerald, and the space in between is known as the gray area. It's very much slums. What you see around that kind of looks like walls surrounding the 3 cities is the border of where the plateau drops. And Terralina, the land, not the city, the surrounding area changes every 10 days. It drastically changes from one type of environment to another. There are some key points that people use for navigation that never change. Not all of them have been discovered, but there are a few that everyone knows and have a device that can connect to them. A type of compass known as Gilron's Path Scryer, or a GPS, and that's how people usually find their way. Today, the characters you are playing are traveling with Waylon Gilrond, who is a descendant of the original Gilrond, for which the past scryer is named for. You all have your different reasons for joining up with this researcher, but it has been a couple of days traveling in what can be best described as a double-decker cart. It's a bit longer than a regular cart. It houses a small kitchen. There's a table for eating and a table for work. Oftentimes the two get mixed. People are eating where they should be working and working where they should be eating. On the second level are bedding and bunks for everyone to sleep whenever the cart tends to stop. This cart is pulled by two beasts that are wide-bodied and they're horse adjacent. The best way to describe the creatures pulling the cart is if you told someone who had never seen a horse before what a horse looks like, that is the approximation of what they drew. And looking at these creatures, you've gotten used to it over time, but staring at them for too long gives you an uneasy, queasy feeling. Waylon Gilrond himself is a olive-skinned male, long hair that's pulled into a tight bun on top of his head. His prominent nose features a pair of spectacles that sit right at the edge, and often when you see him inside the cart, he's looking over maps and notes, oftentimes with what appears to be a magnifying glass, but there's no lens. And if you ever look over his shoulder, you see through it that things are being magnified and also being revealed in the documents as he's passing over it. And where we will pick up is you're currently traveling at a steady pace, not too fast, and you're all within the cart, or if you want to be sitting outside on top, driving it, whichever, just let me know what you want to do at this moment. But you're currently traveling inside of this cart, and Waylon is looking over his notes.
We're traveling. Are we? Is there some specific direction? I don't mean literal direction, but like, what are we traveling for, or to, or from, or?
Oh, that's right.
Like, are we
Okay.
just exploring the land that is in this particular instance of this 10-day period around us, or what's the plan?
Yes. This current 10-day instance is flat grassland, but anyone that is outside, you're able to see that there appears to be a swamp in the distance that you are approaching, and it appears to be your destination.
I'd say Astur's inside. They're an indoors sort of bird. Being nosy about whatever papers our friend is going over.
Yes, if you're looking at it, Gilron is... Actually, give me I would say, investigation to see what Gilron's looking at.
Wow. That's how I want to start the game. 26.
I'm actually not seeing your roll showing up. That's odd. Anyway,
Oh, I wonder if I'm whispering. Let me check the Beyond 20 settings.
You can see the
Never
20.
whisper, normal rolls. Yeah. Try scrolling down. For some reason, it's not like...
I did, but it's not showing for me. It's fine.
Weird.
I'll just take your word for it. So you see that Gilron is looking over a map that says possible permanent point swap. Further information unknown. And you're looking over. He's also looking over handwritten notes. And I would say with a 26, you can tell that they're handwritten accounts of a person's travel through said swap.
And Astur's been part of this group and has been around Terralina long enough to know that permanent points in the areas around Terralina are very important and very rare, right?
Right. You know that Gilron's whole mission is to figure out why the land is constantly changing, not just documenting. Anyone else, what are you doing at this moment as you are approaching the swamp?
I would.
You go ahead.
I would say Merric at this point would be on top of the carriage, just as a lookout.
Okay. So you're looking out, and again, you see you're approaching the swamp, and we'll be there shortly.
Wolfram would be inside with Astur and our patron, definitely wanting to study the notes and the maps as well, and also that very interesting magnifying glass. At some point in our journey, Wolfram also would have gifted Astur or lent a robe, either that or enchanted her own robe, um, as an offering to a fellow or a spellcaster specialist. It will help with your concentration if you need to focus on something else.
Whoa! What
This is
kind
a
of rope
mind,
is?
this is a mind sharpener. As Wolfram will infuse the robe, it will. If you fail a concentration check, you can use one of its 4 charges to pass it instead.
Ooh.
So you're offering this to
To Astur.
to Astur. Oh, okay.
As Astur is, I assume in this path, in these travels, I learned that Astur is in fact a wizard.
Yes, I would say that all of you are aware of each other. You've been traveling for a bit of time together.
Cool.
Okay, Wolfram, Wolfram, you know that the magnifying glass that Waylon is holding, it is actually also his mage's staff. It transforms into a larger, wieldable size. It's something you have seen before. And when it is full size, it does have a ring on top that is about a foot or so in diameter.
When he's not focused on his notes, I would definitely try to spark up a conversation on what enchantments went into it to allow for that magnification ability.
So when you ask him, he'll say, "Oh, it's an old family heirloom. Exactly how it was made, I'm not sure. I'm quite fond of it, but I feel that the art of creating it was lost.
That's unfortunate.
My great 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 grandfather Gilron, he would also explore. He created the compasses and mapped much of Terralina, and
Fascinating.
I believe that this is one of the relics that he had collected in his journeys. It's just been passed down from one Gilron to another.
That sounds like it has quite a great deal of weight to it. If it does not offend you, it would please me greatly if I could study it at any point.
Perhaps, but for now, I need it.
Of course, of course.
Caitlin Kind. Sorry, still in character voice. Caitlin Kind, what are you doing?
I'm intrigued by these horses. If I haven't seen many of them around, maybe I'm spending as much time staring at them as I can until I get too uneasy, and then I look somewhere else and enjoy the view. I'm not particularly trying to be perceptive like Merric is on the top of the thing, but I'm definitely outside. If there's an observation edge or a seat I can sit on the exterior of the carriage.
Of course. There is a seat for, directing and driving the creatures, the horse adjacent creatures. And you attempt to steal glances at them every so often. And as you watch them, again, you just kind of feel uneasy as maybe one turns to look back at you, but it's not so much like it's turning its head, so much as where a head should be is shifting and deforming, and you feel eyes on you, and you look away.
Can I make like maybe an insight check to see if I think this being is, or this thing is acting in an intelligent, like self-autonomous way, or if it's just totally a pack animal?
Sure.
Is that a reasonable thing to do?
It's reasonable.
I know nothing. Cool. In fact, I'm probably convinced it was just an animal, and there's something. You know what? Actually, no. I could be suspicious of it. I'll be convinced that there's definitely something intelligent going on there, and it has its own desires and motivations, and that's what's creeping me out.
Again, for some
In
reason,
addition to these eyeballs.
I'm not seeing like anyone's rolls, which
Okay, it was a 2.
which is bumming me out. But yeah, for now, just tell me what you roll.
Just say what it is.
Yeah.
You can see that we said or did something.
Okay, so yes, you attempt to ascertain whether or not these creatures are intelligent, and you're not getting anything from them.
All right. If I said I'm not really like on alert, but I'm like observing the surrounding landscape because I want to tell kids about how this place changed and all the weird stuff that happened here while I was here.
All right, so we'll move along to the cart has reached the edge of the swamp and is starting to enter.
Are we prepared for a swamp? I'm looking around asking. Who's in charge of stalking this expedition? I know it wasn't me. We got like, you know, rations in case we get. What if our cart's wheels get stuck in the swamp here? We got swamp blankets to keep ourselves warm. We got things to make fires. Is this gonna be okay? We got a boat? Portable boat? Anybody? No.
None of these things. I have a little bag of sand.
Well, I always tell my kids you got to be prepared before you go anywhere, and you wouldn't just go out into the wilderness with nothing on your back, right? So if we're going into the swamp, I imagine we're prepared. I just want to make sure. What have we done?
So
maybe I'll find what's his name, Wayland, and ask him directly.
I would say that you've been with Wayland long enough that you know that very often he doesn't have a plan. It's like more often than not, he doesn't really have a plan. He just is focused on his research and getting to where he needs to be. So when you ask all these questions, it's just deer in headlights and giving you a blank stare. And it's at that point he deflects. Maybe the ranger, of course. He was in charge of all of that.
Merric, the ranger? Or was there another ranger?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, and he's just pointing to the ceiling, knowing that he's outside.
At least you had the thought to delegate to somebody. I'll give you that, but you got to be prepared next time, my man. This is. I'm gonna walk away muttering to myself. Poor planning. Then I'll approach you, Merric. Merric, how do you feel about water? I mean, you're a pretty short being, right? You're pretty small. Are you gonna drown if we get into some deep water here, my man?
The best way to be prepared is to just not be prepared.
Oh, you too? Come on. Okay, I'm gonna start looking. I'm gonna do an investigation.
And Merric just stares off into the swamp,
Stoically.
The best course of action. Stoically.
I concern myself with a highest possible investigation roll of 20, trying to find a wheel in case something happens to this thing and we need to replace a wheel. That's the first thing I can think of that might go wrong in a swamp. So I'm just going to spend time looking for items that, and I don't, as a player, I don't really care about actually finding them, but that's what I'm doing.
Okay, so I would say
I'm tearing the cart up and down. Cart up, trying to find parts.
You're looking for spare parts and things, and again, you know that. Oh, now it shows up.
No, I just typed that.
Oh, you typed it. Okay, I was about to say now it shows up. Anyway,
I'll just do that in the future.
So Waylon is finally looks up from his work and sees you about the cabin, just opening drawers and opening cupboards and looking around, and he finally has the mind to ask, "What are you doing?"
Trying to do something that nobody else here thought to do, which is come prepared for this swamp that we've been looking at and riding towards for how many hours? And nobody's thought to make sure we're actually going to be able to cross this swamp. And I'm like freaking out. Well, not freaking out. Maybe it's not that bad, but I'm frustrated.
Meanwhile,
I'm kind of
Merric
like
is
throwing my arms up in the air and.
Merric is sitting on top of the cart in a cross-legged position, meditating.
All right. So, everyone,
But do you at least have a torch, Wayland? Do we at least have those? Will we be
and
able to see when it gets dark?
when you say that, he spins the little magnifying glass in his hand, and it turns into a staff, and
Whoa.
he taps it to the ground, and out of the ring center comes little lights. And he
A
says,
nice trick.
I can produce as many lights as needed. And
Well, that's better than my nightlight.
mechanically, he casts dancing lights.
Cool. All right. Okay, so you got some sort of you got something going for you. Maybe I can calm down a little bit. At least we'll know we're gonna die before we die.
So, in the midst of the conversation, actually, Merric, since you're outside, gotta get a perception from you.
And Caitlin, if you're concerned and if you cannot see in the dark, here, have one of these, and I will pass you a glowing ring.
I can cast light as a cantrip.
15.
I can do it for me, just not for everybody else.
So you hear, what you hear is, you hear hissing. It's like a low hissing followed by snapping sounds. And after that, everyone can feel the cart is moving faster and it's gaining speed.
At that point,
See what the
so
alarm is.
everyone to be on alert. We're being attacked.
What? Attacked? How come you didn't see them? Wait, you're up there. Use your scout eyes.
Possibly below ground.
Well, that's not good. I will cast light on my shirt so that I am glowing.
And it is good because it has gotten dark.
And then I want to look at these horse things, the not horses again, and try to figure out if they look scared of the sound that they heard. Is that why it's going faster? Did the guy who was driving them just tell them to go faster?
Yes, they are scared. That's not even a roll needed.
I see. It's very clear.
Is the
And
hissing continuing? Or was it just briefly and then it stopped? Is there still hissing?
There is not.
I think only Josh heard the hissing. Oh yes, but we have to ask.
Yeah.
Question: can I hop down to where I guess, essentially where you would control these beasts to go in the direction
Yes, you can.
of your choosing? Okay, yes, I will do that to control them.
Well, I will need an animal handling from you.
Nice.
24.
24.
Yes.
All right.
Did you see that?
No, I did not.
Oh,
But everyone's telling me it's 24, so we're gonna go in the honor system. So you managed to get them like under control, but as you're pulling on the reins to try and get them to slow down, they start to slide in the mud. The cart continues several more feet. And can I get a dexterity saving throw from everyone?
That'll be a 4 for Wolfram.
Do
Oh,
I
no.
know that this is coming?
I got a
Okay, sure.
25.
Let's say I was gonna stick my head out and look at the horse beasts, but maybe that's all I'm focusing on, and I don't see what's gonna happen. So sure.
Everyone that has below a 15 is launched into the air and fall back down in the cart with a thud.
Pick myself up, right myself, and check for any personal injury. I see no personal injury. Yeah, young man in heavy armor. Maybe I'll try to help extricate you, Wolfram, from whatever position you may have landed in. Help you get up.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot in here. I may have just done some damage. Not to be
Right.
part.
Oh,
And then when I'm able to, I'm gonna step outside.
After the cart comes to a stop, I probably should have rolled for Gilron, but I'm so focused on other things.
Oops.
As soon as he's launched into the air, you see him disappear from the cart. He uses Misty Step.
All right. That's a good solution.
Let's do some
And Merric, you see Gilron appear outside.
next to me. Or
No, next to where the cart has stopped. He's within your line of sight.
Astur's gonna poke their head out the window of the cart or door of the cart, whatever, and look around and say, "What the hell happened?
we were attacked by
By what?"
something. I didn't see it.
Mud?
It's either invisible or underground or something. Either way, the animals were spooked by it. So I did what any normal person would do. I got them under control.
So anyone that is going outside or looking around outside, can I get a perception check?
Yes, I believe Merric would look for the thing or things that attacked.
I'm still pulling stuff out of my armor.
Okay, so anyone above a 10, you notice that for this accident, there you had an audience sitting several feet away from the cart on a log is a bullywug and a turtle. And the turtle is elbowing the bullywug saying, "Did you see that?" And the bullywug, it just responds like, "Yeah."
That's good. We turn to face them. Hey, you non-human pair. Maybe we trespassed on your here swamp, but is it nice? Is it proper manners to make fun of a group of travelers so desperately stranded in your land like that? I mean, come on, it was funny, but
So, with the turtle being a large humanoid turtle person, the turtle says, "Ooh boy, ooh, you guys went flying. I ain't seen that in a long time." And the bullywug says, "You folks must be lost. Not many
I'd
people
say we're
come this
lost.
way."
Of course, we're not lost. We know exactly where we are. We have a map.
And Gilron will chime in and say, "Yes, we are exactly where we should be." And he will pull his staff in front of him and start looking through the hole and look around. And he's like, "Yes, yes, this is where we should be." And he turns to the two individuals and says, "Um, you two live here, correct?" And they just give him blank stares and kind of look around and gesture like, "Yeah." All right, Caitlin, if you're looking for the source of the crash, you can go walking off.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of trying to be blusterous against these guys, or like try to.
Oh, that's fine.
I don't know.
Like,
I was trying to talk against them, and then now I'm not interested because they didn't. They're not actually. They don't appear to be immediately hostile. I just thought maybe they would be, and so I was gonna head that off. So now
uh,
instead of kind of yelling at them, I've decided I'm going to figure out what the heck actually Crash does. So maybe this takes some time while they're talking.
Merric will ask them, if you saw us, what hit us? Was it you?
The bullywug looks at you and says, yeah, no, you're not worth my time. And the turtle says, ooh, y'all ran into gators. Yeah, there's plenty of them around here in the swamp. It scared those, cattle things. Scared those things pretty good.
What are skaters? I've never heard of these. I want to know everything.
And the turtle, again, elbows the bullywug. It's like, these folks don't know what gators are.
Oh, wait, gators?
That's what I said. That's why I said gators.
Alligators.
It's that gators. Do you understand?
You have an accent. You don't speak very clearly.
It's like, shoot, we only speak the way we speak around these parts.
Merric knows nothing about gators.
Yeah, pretty sure we're the ones with accents.
I'll have you know I speak perfectly unaccented common, as is phonetically correct.
Caitlin, anything in particular you're trying to proceed?
Yeah, like what? Did we crash because we hit a rock? That's my presumption, that we ran into something, that these beasts were scared, or like did they swerve around something? Did we get pushed to the side? I don't know what.
The cart hit a rock.
Okay.
Yes. And you see the damage.
In my stopping them.
And one of the wheels are broken.
What did I say about wheels, guys? Come on!
I'll get started on
Merric is completely ignoring Caitlin and talking to the turtle.
Gilron.
Yes, Gilron will say, what do these gators look like?
Gilron will approach the broken wheel and say, this will only delay us for a few hours.
Actually, that's true. Because I can do this, and I will mend 2 pieces of the broken wheel back together.
So, as you go to do that,
but they can see maximum size.
You see that the wheel is already mending itself.
All right, you've outdone me. And I see why you needed less preparation than I would have expected. Magic. Helpful.
Mechanically, the cart is self-repairing.
Good. You were adequately prepared.
And Wolfram.
Did you create this cart as well, or did you inherit it?
A bit of both. In Emerald, I had some requests and put in some input.
This is fascinating.
Indeed.
Whoa.
Enormous. I'm a very large bird.
I'm a very important secretary.
Okay, I can't seem to resize it.
Secretary. Only the DM can resize tokens.
That's annoying.
I got it.
Thank you.
I don't know why it showed up gigantic like
that. Who knows? Roll20's really screwy tonight.
Yeah. Again, the bullywug and the turtle are just sitting there.
I did ask them what the gators look.
And so the turtle, being the more vocal of the two, he puts his hands out and uses his clawed fingers to kind of make like a jaw. And he's like motioning his hands up and down. And he says, gators, they're these big old things with jaws like this, and they like snap, 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 snap. And he's just like, flailing his arms.
Yes, we are aware what an alligator is. Similar to the crocodile, but not the same. It has a curved snout and they just start to describe the differences between an alligator and a crocodile, like some sort of nature book.
And you hear the bullywug. He says, let's find another spot. They're scaring away all the fish. And
I will run to them and apologize to them for my rude behavior before and wish them a good fishing trip. Give them a handshake. Sort of atone for my poor behavior before as they're walking off.
the bullywug will reluctantly shake hands with you, but the turtle is just like all there. He's just all for it. You know, he just grabs your hand. He's shaking it aggressively. He's patting you on the back. He's like, "Oh, it's no trouble, brother. It's no trouble."
Great. I tell them my name and thank them for not being evil. And I suggest if I ask before they go if they have any practical tips for navigating this part of the swamp, seeing as it just came into existence maybe no more than a few days ago. Do they know anything about how to get around in here or
he says,
location?
he says, came into existence a few days ago. No, this swamp always been here. We always been here with it.
I don't understand how that's possible. Is this not part of the land surrounding Terralina? That I've been, I'm clearly not from around here, but I've been told this place changes quite rapidly. This swamp is always here?
Gilron will chime in and say, it's like, there are some locations that don't change, and I do believe this is one of them.
Fascinating. Then you two ought to know a lot about how to. Well, I understand y'all got things to do. You gotta get on your way. But again, if you have any navigating tips, there's a big log about 3,500 feet over that way. It tells you something like that. Why we could use that sort of knowledge. If not, you folks have a good day.
The bullywug is he'll say, stay away from the gators. You may think it's a log, but it's probably not. There's a cabin not too far from here. Maybe they can help you.
Who's at the cabin, dear?
He says, some swamp folks. They've been here for quite some time.
All right. Thank you kindly. You guys enjoy your fishing trip.
He kind of hops off with the turtle walking behind
Before you
him.
go, what are your names?
The turtle says, "It's like I'm Enos. That's E, and there's a U in there somewhere, and there's an I and a C. I'm sure. It's like I'm sure you can figure it out."
I'm sure I can.
And the bullywug says, "My papa told me never give my name to strangers, no matter how friendly they are."
Papa was a smart wog. Wug? I don't know what slang for bullywug, your papa was a smart one.
And he just hits you with a mm-hmm.
I won't bother them anymore.
But unless anyone wants to bother them anymore, they'll go on their way.
Waylon, it does make sense that you'd be taking us to a place that you would know exists because it's here all the time, right? Silly me. Again, thinking you were unprepared, but really you were actually prepared, and it was me who didn't understand. So, what is it about this ever-present swamp that we're trying to figure out? Maybe it's persistence?
He's like, indeed. I would like to know why it stays while everything else changes. And in fact, there's something in the cart. And he'll walk off and disappear into the cart for a moment and bring out a little box. Says, it might be too much trouble for the moment to try and find the heart of the swamp, but I believe if we put it in this location, we can get a bit of data. and he'll sit the box down and open it. Inside is some mechanisms and a little crystal. And he says, it has trouble attuning.
I look
Yeah.
confused. I don't know very much about arcane things.
And I believe, Wolfram, you're an artificer?
Absolutely.
Yes,
That's
if you want,
terrible.
yes, if you want, you can also take a look at this device.
Absolutely.
And yeah,
Arcane technologies.
so actually give me would I make it Arcana? Yeah, sure, Arcana check.
I am far too distracted by the wheel.
Okay,
Oh,
well,
wait, no, have my rolls not been working?
No, I can see you.
Yeah, but that was an 11 on the die. It's not adding any of my modifiers.
Oh,
That should be
one would
no
hope you
wonder.
have some modifiers to Arcana checks.
Yeah, that would be a 20 then, not an 11. It's not
okay,
including. Interesting. Yeah, Roll20 is being weird today.
yeah,
My
so
percentage has been a hell of a lot higher than that as well, though not my deck save.
when you're looking at this device, what you notice about it is that any ambient magical energy seems to be drawn to it. In this world, like people that have magic can tend to get like a very minimal sense of magic being around, but not like if you had used detect magic. You can just feel that something's flowing to this device. As far as the specifics, you might have to ask Gilron what it does.
I will, on realizing this, I will immediately ask Gilron what this device does.
It says, "Oh yes, this fascinating little device. It was actually created by my father. It sifts through magical energies that are around and analyzes them. It gives me an idea of what type of magics are within an area."
Amazing. You come from quite the accomplished lineage of inventors, do you not?
Inventors and explorers, we've dedicated everything to finding out why Terralina is the way it is.
Always ask why and how.
And he says, it's going to be some time before that finishes repairing itself. Perhaps we should look around and see what there is.
Agree. I believe it would be fortuitous to take some notes and take some samples, and believe we should go around and pluck some flowers and sample some water.
Do you want to drink the water here?
Sample the water.
Oh, okay, yeah. Simple-minded. I don't even probably characters doesn't even know about scientific research. Is that even a thing? Okay, fair.
All right.
Well, if you feel like you need me, you can holler at me. But I'm gonna start. Maybe I'll ask. I guess. Wayland,
Yes.
th- these pack beasts, are they beasts?
Uh, beast, yes, is a appropriate term.
Oh, I'm going to see if I can communicate with them. I'm going to spend 10 minutes to speak with animals ritually.
Okay. So,
Unless I get interrupted by something. If somebody yells at me, I'll abandon my thing and come to their aid.
Since I can just speak with animals naturally using my primal awareness, I will do so. I'm a ranger.
Show off. All right, fine.
so no, I will say both of you attempt to speak to them, in your own time, in your own way. And this is a conundrum because
if they are actually beasts, then it works. But I think if they're not actually beasts, then it just nothing happens.
They're not necessarily beast.
Then we both fail to be able to speak with them. Like we say
Right.
words and they don't respond in any way.
They
But
don't
when you attempt to speak with them, they do turn in your direction.
Very interesting.
With my speak with animals up, do I hear any gators, alligators,
Mhm.
or any other beasts or animals around that would be threatening?
Not in your immediate vicinity. You don't hear gators, but you do hear birds chirping around, and you hear some small rodents like swamp shrew or something like that, just skittering around, and just simple voices like, gotta find food, gotta find food. Basic animal stuff. Trying to find food, asking each other where, like the nearest, freshwater source is, like a spring, not necessarily getting too close to the swamp water.
Using my speak with animals, since it lasts 10 minutes, can I call to the nearest bird and ask it where is the nearest freshwater source?
Actually, give me a persuasion roll. Yes, because I would say you're trying to convince this creature to tell you where their freshwater spring is, and that's a survival resource in the animal kingdom.
I got a 4. Dang.
It looks at you like you might be a challenger, and it's like, no, no, no.
Oh, come on.
And it is now telling the other birds that you're trying to take their bathing grounds and all of that.
The birds are against us.
Do the birds speak Aran or Arakokra by any chance? Because I am a bird. And bird.
Not actually birds.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. It was worth a try.
In a different setting, I might have given it to you if it wasn't like small birds. If it was like a eagle or something, I might have given it to you. I would say higher intelligence.
So Astur is going to sort of approach this water source down here and lean down and get a sample of it in a little glass vial and look at it through the light and give it a shake and start sampling.
I need to roll something. I know I shouldn't sound so excited. High or low?
Hi.
So, Zeta.
No.
Zeta.
Astur.
Sorry. Yes, wrong character. Y'all can't do this to me. Astur, how focused are you on collecting that water sample?
Pretty focused, but still aware that there be gators about.
Yeah, you see a log floating, but then that log goes
Yeah.
underwater.
Logs equal gators. Backing away. Actually taking flight. So you'll see this big black and white wings come out and flap. They leap into the air and back away some.
Duron's looking around too, messing around with some of the plants.
So is it nighttime? Okay, can you add light to Astur also, because they're gonna cast light on their quill.
So make you a glowing source of light.
Yes.
I am already a glowing source of light. We are attracting attention. Caitlin turns to you, Merric, whispers quietly, "Do Do not talk to the crocodiles. The alligators. Okay?
I
I
just
don't know what you're
I
saying,
believe-
or you clearly tried
didn't
something.
like me. The
I believe
birds
we
didn't
made a
like me.
mistake in the taxonomy of these creatures. They're not crocodiles. In fact, they are alligators, as evidenced by the fact that they are round-nosed and they do
Can
not
you hear
have.
me? I'm whispering.
Oh, sorry. You're right.
That's fine. I thought maybe you had some sort of hearing. I'll have said it out loud so that you can
Right.
respond. I like that. Okay. Would you? I don't think we want to deal with them. And talking about them might make them curious. So
Well, curious or not, does not matter to me. As long as they go and just stay about their business, I will just stay here by the cart.
I'll draw my shield just to be extra, or use my shield.
Oh, a little dock? Some bridge?
I can't
Yes.
quite see from here. You better get closer. Actually, it would be dim light, so we could. But
I do not know how far I can see it.
Is Waylon taking his little device with him, or has he put it down near the cart?
He put it down near the cart.
And I am crouched staring at it.
Okay.
In case there is combat that erupts, I should say that, like most wizards, Astur casts mage armor at the beginning of each day. And also my ring of spell storing has some cure wounds in it.
Okay.
That
So,
would have been something they would have prepared before coming along.
Astur, it's not a hard DC, but would you give me a perception?
Yep. 10.
10. You don't hear the specifics, but you do hear a bit of music from where you are.
see that you're listening to something.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly trying hard.
Mm-hmm.
I will also attempt to listen. 10.
Another 10.
Another thing.
So it's music. I am a bard. I am proficient in a variety of musical instruments. Do I think for any reason this sounds like swamp people music? I don't really know what that is like in this universe, but
like more of a.
all right. That's a good sound effect. I like that.
Because I'm actually holding my guitar and playing it with my slide.
Wonderful. That's great.
That was great.
Yeah.
That sounds like a swamp people if I've ever heard one. We're probably okay. We remember that. What was his name? Eunice. You. I don't remember. It was a turtle. And that bullywug. They said there was a shack somewhere with some swamp people, and it sure looks like there could be a shack on the end of this. I don't know. Walkway, bridge, deck. Who knows what it is? Of course, it could also be musical gators, right?
Don't be absurd. Alligators do not have the manual dexterity to pluck a stringed instrument.
You're a bird.
How astute of you.
I don't mean that as an insult, ma'am. I just, you. Who's to say there isn't some sort of a more manually dexterous alligator swamp guitar player out there that we don't know about? This could be a major discovery in the musical world. Boy, I think we ought to get a little closer.
I agree.
Oh, actually, I'll Barbarian cunning action and regular dash to run all the way to Wolfram and Merric, and then run back with 120 feet of movement
Good grief.
and tell you all to come here.
I
Right?
I guess we're
Oh no, I can't do 120. It would be. Yeah, no, it would be 40, 40, 40.
I guess we're on the move.
Aw. I wanted to watch this device finish tuning.
Oh, well,
So
I can't tell you
you
that,
might
but
be the only one in the party that can see in the dark, so I suppose we should go.
Oh, I cannot see.
But before I leave the device, I will pull out what looks like a wooden puppet, but it has its head almost looks like a mind flayer, and I will leave it on the like on the cart, and give it a whistle, and tell it you know what to do in the event you see any hostiles or anyone else, and walk away from this doll.
Okay.
I literally cannot see my token.
yeah, because you're not generating light.
Oh,
You can
no,
click on
I-
yourself though. You know
Hold
where
on,
you
hold
are.
on.
Your mouse will change.
hold on. I didn't give him
Like
vision
right here. Oh no.
There.
There we go. Yeah. There we go.
because I didn't give him vision. It was my fault.
Ah.
Wolfram also doesn't have vision, and Wolfram has dark vision, but it's different, I suppose.
I don't have.
Yeah, Wolfram has dark vision, but the Meccano Squidling does not have vision, apparently. I would have left a glowing ring next to it.
All right,
It
let
only
me.
does right 5 feet dim.
No, it won't matter too much because you're not going to stay on this map.
Yeah. And it also has dark vision. But as long as nothing happens over there, it doesn't matter.
So
Swamp people ahead, probably friendly. Maybe not, but probably. Maybe they're gators.
Is the music coming from inside this building?
yes, it is. With that, what are you guys deciding to do at this point? Are you just
I think the polite thing to do would be to knock.
Indeed. Wolfram would knock on the door.
all right? So you knock on the door, and the music stops. You hear some heavy footsteps, and the door opens. And standing before you is a heavy-set man. He has olive skin. He's wearing a wide-brimmed hat, and his clothing is the best way to describe it is very southern.
Overalls.
Not overalls, but imagine like a tan suit and a black tie.
Okay.
Uh, Good evening, sir. Apologies for the intrusion. We had a bit of some damage to our vehicle when passing in the area. Heard marvelous music you were playing. Do you happen to know of any threats that might need to be in the area we need to keep an eye out for while we are conducting repairs?
He says, "Oh, come on in. There's no reason you need to be standing out there.
That would be appreciated. The dark does make repairs somewhat difficult.
Them gators like to get ornery at night."
I would imagine. If he's inviting us in, I would step inside.
All right, and with that, we're going to transition to another map. This is the map
I'm probably the most intimidating visual person in the party as well.
Right.
Right. Meanwhile, I'm like 3 feet. I'm just short. Tiniest of the wall.
I'm an over 6 foot, horned, black skinned, glowing yellow eyed, heavy armor monster.
Okay, so
You're the one that talks and he doesn't.
I'm the one that's talking.
He doesn't
I
seem
might not be
phased
the
at all.
person in the
Just
party.
despite what it looked like on the map, this place is actually pretty big.
Is it bigger on the inside?
No, it's just the way that the map was, and me with the scaling and trying to get all this right. It's just not. It's just not accurate. And just like it's not supposed to be completely dark, but Roll20's being a bitch, and yes, rather, large area. You see some card tables. You see some dining tables, and although it's not populated with NPCs visually, there are quite a few people sitting around. And let me see if I can. So your host, if everyone's back at the entrance, the man that invited you in says, "Welcome to my little abode. It doubles as a restaurant and a gambling den."
Well, ain't that an odd thing to find out in the swamp?
Odd. Odd to you, daily life to us.
Sounds like a perfectly practical establishment myself.
He says, "I am Quentin Swampwater. Nice to meet your acquaintance. Now, again, what brings you nice folks out this way?"
Well, you see, we are researchers on a mission to discover the meaning of Terralina's changing landscape. And we have discovered that your swamp is a solitary, steady point within the changing landscapes. And then they just continue to go on and describe things in more detail than anybody cares about.
I do not have a token for this guy. You know what? Let me just grab a random token that I have. It may not accurately represent him, but it's something. It looks different from the others.
Indeed.
yeah.
Can y'all see his name?
Nope.
No. Then that means I'll have to. There.
There it is, Quentin Swampwater.
You said that you're researchers. He says, "We don't usually see folks stumble in here. New faces, that is." And every time he speaks to you, he ends his sentences with a smile, and it's just like a way too toothy grin.
Well, we are a bit of an unusual bunch. We are new faces everywhere we go.
He says, "There's a mama in the kitchen right now. She's whipping up something nice. We'd love to have you all for dinner."
Now, when you say what you would like us to have us for dinner, do you mean that you will eat us, or do you mean that you will serve dinner to us?
Which is preferable to you?
I prefer to eat rather than to.
Latter.
Well, there's some pretty nice dishes that are going to be coming out soon. Mama's world famous swamp gumbo.
Delightful.
Wolfram,
Shake his
what
hand.
was that roll for? Insight 7.
Of the have you for dinner comment. That has definitely been an issue Wolfram has encountered before.
I guess you just take it at face value that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not in that place anymore. That's not something that needs to be checked every single time.
So as he's making his introductions and hearing your reasons for being there, there's a commotion going on at one of the card tables. And you hear one of the patrons say, "It's like, God damn it, you cheated me for the last time."
Commotion's happening further inside somewhere.
Yes, from this card table.
I see.
There's a dealer, and let's say there's like 2 other patrons, but again, whatever, I'm not putting a bunch of more tokens out. So, yeah, there's a commotion coming from one of the tables.
Sounds like you might need to attend to that, unless people tend to sort things out on their own, and you let that happen.
It's like, we have a way of dealing with problem people. And you hear the commotion getting louder, and he reaches into his coat and pulls out what's known around these parts as a caster pistol, a type of magical weapon, much akin to a firearm. And he threatens the dealer. If no one will step in, it will play out.
I'm not about to step into this guy's territory.
No one else.
Never seen something like that before. I'm bewildered.
No.
Intrigued and bewildered.
All right, so he threatens the.
Merric will just look at this from far and be like, this is your place.
All right, so with him with him holding this piece of twisted wood, like some type of odd-shaped wand, with a glass sphere, up to the dealer, he threatens to shoot him. It's like, either you give me my money back, or I'm taking your head off right now. And Quentin, you see him. He says, "Excuse me, folks." And this is a large guy. He's heavy set, but in a quick motion, he's able to get over, and he gets him in a bear hug. And he's like, "I think you need to drop that, sir." And you hear a crack, as if maybe a bone or two broke, as the caster pistol drops to the ground. Quentin lets go of the patron's.
Well, that guy's pretty fast on his feet.
He lets go of the body, and he just kind of slumps over, and he signals to one of his staff and says, "Would you get rid of him for me?" And with that, they actually drag him down that flight of stairs that you see.
Does the man appear to be dead?
Not dead, but injured. Definitely.
Okay. And with a bear hug and a crack, that very well could have been a broken neck.
No, it wasn't around the neck. It was around the torso.
Okay.
Arms enclosed.
Yeah, crushing ribs can also be lethal.
Punctured lung, but it'll take a while. And he'll return back to your group and say, "I'm so sorry you had to witness that."
Does that happen often around here?
Not too often. They know the consequences. You cause trouble in here, you get thrown out.
Is the pistol still on the floor?
It is.
I would like to go over and pick it up.
All right. Are you trying to sneak and pick it up, or what?
No, I'm not trying to hide it. I'm curious about it.
All right. And again, he'll take notice. He'll be like, "Oh, careful with that now."
What is this?
Say that's what they call a caster pistol. And the way it's spelled is pistol, Pistil, like the part of a flower, because it is made of wood. and it's much like a wand. He says, here in Terralina, people like using those things. Mostly those without magic. They usually have pre-stored spells.
I've been working on a device that can pre-store spells. Is there any way to determine what spell is stored in this one?
Unless you're trying to do identify or maybe detect magic.
It really annoys me that artificers can't ritual cast those. But I'm fascinated enough that I will totally blow a spell slot.
Hey,
To cast
before you do before you do that, I could cast a ritual spell that would determine the characteristics of the spell stored within.
Sure, if you wish to take a look at this, see what we can make of it.
So yeah, ritual identify.
Is there any kind of mechanical trigger on this thing, or do I think it's entirely magical?
You believe that it is entirely magical. There's
Okay.
nothing to push or pull.
Curious how those of the less arcane persuasion activate such a device.
It is Firebolt inside of this particular caster pistol, which is a common spell to be stored in them. And you believe that that there might be some type of spoken word that triggers the use of this. If there's no switch or button or trigger.
Okay. Per the identify spell, if it is a magic item or some other magically imbued object, you learned its properties and how to use them. Would that give them the word, or just that you need a word?
I would say that Astur knows the word that is tied to it. Get that information. So the word is bang. Yes, this particular person tied the word bang to their caster pistol. But in the hands of a innate magic user, they may not actually have to use a verbal component. It all depends on what type of caster you are. Like in the hands of a magic user, they could probably just focus on casting the spell and cast it.
I'll ask Quentin if there's a. I'm no thief. Is there a place where this weapon can be stored until the gentleman downstairs sleeps off his incapacitation? Or has he forfeited this weapon for misusing it?
So, can I get a perception check from you?
Perception. That is still not including my modifiers. That will be a 21.
So, when you start mentioning the guy sleeping it off, Quentin's eyes kind of dart to the side, and he, for a moment, refuses to look in your direction and says, yeah, we'll just put that in safekeeping. And if you hand it over, he'll walk it into the back room.
I'll hand it over, and I nat one my inside earlier, so I think nothing strange of that.
So, anyone have? I just want to ask really quick. How long can you guys stay on? Because it depends on. It tells me how I'm going to run the rest of this.
I'm good for another 2 hours.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter
same.
to me.
Yeah, I don't have another 2 hours, but
Same here.
so maybe 45 minutes at the most.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah, how long I can run this.
And if it needs to be a 2-shot instead of a 1-shot, that's okay.
So, as actually at this point, what are you all doing here? Like, what do you want to do? Because again, there's card tables. There's some drinks that you can order at the bar. Gilron just has his staff out, and he's just kind of looking around, looking through it.
I would want to strike up conversations with some of the other patrons here and ask if they, what their occupations and names are, and um, maybe amongst the gambling tables, see if I recognize the games.
Merric would also strike up conversations with the patrons here and ask whether or not they know anything about the Greenbottle clan, and also whether or not they know anything about the center of the swamp.
Okay, so one thing at a time. Wolfram, what patron are you trying to talk to? Like, specifically, what area are you trying to go to? You said the card tables.
Yeah.
There's a woman over by the card tables, and you attempt to strike up a conversation. What are you saying?
Introducing myself as Wolfram, asking for her name, for her occupation, and small talk about the swamp, such as like clearly there's a lot of people here, but we didn't see a lot of infrastructure outside beyond this building. Do you navigate it by boat? How far away do you live? Not like where do you live, but just like.
Well, she takes a good look at you and says, what are you?
I actually get that question a lot. I am a tiefling. My mother was a tiefling, though I have a black dragon not very far. One of my grandparents was a black dragon. I adopted his coloration, though not his temperament.
Uh-huh. Well, if Quentin let you in here, I guess you can't be too much trouble. You ask a lot of questions.
I do. I am a curious individual.
Let me, well, I'm Rose, and you're asking what's my occupation? She says it like she doesn't, she says it like she doesn't understand that word. It's like, what do you mean?
What do you do when you are not here?
You say, well, I do, some stitching and whittling.
You must be quite skilled at such crafts.
I sell quilts every now and then, and some toys for kids. Little swamp rats love them.
I'm probably continuing mostly meaningless conversation with this woman.
Yes, she'll. The information that she gives is just, just more of that. Just like, she makes little trinkets for kids, and she makes quilts. And if you really take interest in the quilts, then she'll start telling you about all the patterns that she makes, and the fabrics that she uses, stuff like that.
Yeah, Wolfram would probably get into like an actual like stitch work conversation with her. That he himself has leatherworking experience. Would probably try to compare it to quilting.
Well, she will express that there's more of an art to it than just stitching together a boot. She goes into the intricacies of like the patterns and making sure that you have the right materials for for it all, and she'll just go into detail about all of that.
Wolfram is fascinated in all types of crafts and will happily listen.
Now, Merric, what were you asking, and where were you directing this information to?
Merric will go over to the bar and talk to this guy here and ask him if he's from this area.
From, when you say from this area,
The swamps.
he says to you, can't a man drink in peace?
All right. Peace is all good. I wish thee well.
So you're leaving him after that?
I will then avert my attention to the bartender and ask for a drink for myself, and then ask him the same question.
So he asks you what you're drinking.
What is one drink here in the swamp?
He says, we got a type of rye whiskey. We got a algae ale. And he says we got swamp water wine.
I'll take the wine.
All right.
It seems that you have mostly spirits. I'll take the wine.
So he'll pour you a glass of swamp water wine.
I will then ask, what does he know about the center of the swamp?
So when he pours this wine for you, it's almost thick. And it's this deep red color. And even before you pick it up and bring it to your lips, you can smell this full fruit bouquet from it. And when you ask about the center of the swamp, he says, what you going looking for that for?
Well, as you can see, I'm part of this adventuring expedition group, and we were sent out here to see about the different lands of Terralina. I'm on my own kind of investigation. I'm looking for Greenbottles. Heard of them?
Greenbottles. The only Greenbottles I know I store wine in.
Okay. I guess that doesn't matter. But
word of advice for you. Don't go looking for anything in this swamp. If you know what's good for you, you best leave. Or become another one of the mudmen.
Mudmen. This would pique Merric's interest. Well, you see, I don't go looking for trouble. Trouble just seems to find me. All I really look for is peace and a question as to where I come from, which is why I asked about Greenbottles.
Again,
But,
I don't know any Greenbottles.
Yes. I know you said that before. You always store things in them. But you got a map around this place? I mean, seeing as you are the bartender, every place has some sort of map.
How do I want to handle this? Because he's not trying to be rude, but he is being short with you, and you're just going on about this map and Greenbottle. He's like, you asking me about green bottles and maps, and I'm just here to serve you drinks. So either you get a drink.
Well, I got a drink. You serve me well. All right, I'll just go ask some other people, and I will get up and.
So when you get up, he says, "Hey, you still gotta pay me 3 copper."
3 copper. Okay. My man here to the right has it, and I'll leave.
All right.
Go to the card table.
All right. So who's next?
Astur, I know what Astur would be doing. I don't know who's supposed to be next. I don't know if we're parents.
It's either Astur or
You.
Caitlin. Whoever wants to go.
I can go.
All right. What are you doing, Astur?
So Astur, for a while, is standing next to Waylon and sort of pontificating on possible magical fields and all of that sort of thing. But then they have an idea, and they think, I know how I can find out some information. And so at this point, they cast Detect Thought. And so they cast it on themselves. It's a concentration spell. And then they should be able to detect thinking individuals with an intelligence over 3 within 30 feet. And then when I cast a spell and as an action, I can choose an individual to hear their surface thoughts. So after casting it, and when I cast it, I sort of try to make it look like I'm doing something with Waylon's staff, like we're still working on the problem we mentioned, of finding the center of the swamp and the whatever is holding the swamp in place. But
Yeah.
then moving away, and I'm going to focus first on Quentin Swampwater.
Okay.
And hear just his surface thoughts. I'm not digging deeper because that triggers a save.
Okay. So what you hear from Quentin is, it's like, Mama better hurry up with that food. I don't know how long I can keep him here.
Okay. And then Astur will actually go up to Quentin and start a conversation and try to basically try to interrogate them and figure out what is going on behind the scenes. So asking questions like, so what's for dinner? And how long have you been here in the swamp? And
All right. So
yeah, stuff like that.
all right. So Quentin, not Quentin, Waylon will actually pick up on that. It's like, oh yes, excellent question. How long have you been here? And Quentin will say, oh, me, I've been here several years, but the Swamp Boys have been here for as long as the swamp has. We go way back.
His thoughts as he says that.
He's actually his thoughts as he says that. When he says that he's been here for many years, what he's thinking is he's calculating how long he's actually been in the swamp, and he doesn't look it. He looks like he's maybe in his 40s, but in his head he's saying that he's about 87, 88 now. But he doesn't tell you that.
And moving the conversation along, gonna ask what is in the center of the swamp, and what does he know about why the swamp stays put instead of shifting like the rest of Terralina.
He says, when you ask about the center of the swamp, he says, it's like, no good comes from that. You don't need to go looking for no center of no swamp. You're just fine right here. And when he switches to why it stays in place, he says, I don't know.
What were his thoughts when he said all that?
So when he says you don't want to go to the center of the swamp, he says, in his head, he's thinking, no need of these fine folks going and becoming mudmen. And when he says that, when you asked why it doesn't shift with the rest of Terralina, and he says he doesn't know, what he's actually thinking is the gods wouldn't dare touch this place.
Interesting. Interesting. Very interesting. Right. So, Astur's next question might reveal them, but they're on the quest for more knowledge and they can't help themselves. They would ask, what can you tell me about the Mudmen?
When you ask this, Quentin, who all this time has, ended every sentence with a big smile, big toothy grin, like his face just goes placid. It's just, now, why are you interested in some mudman? I thought you folks weren't from around here.
I heard the phrase, and it stuck with me.
Well, folks such as yourself that don't really know the swamp like the swamp folk, they tend to get lost. They come back, but they come back as part of the swamp, so to speak, covered in mud and all that. Mudman. You get it?
How awful.
And he's back to the big toothy grin.
And his thoughts?
His surface thoughts are very much like in line with, what he said.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair. Astur's gonna keep pestering him about the Mudmen because that sounds interesting, and about the center of the swamp, and just get and also they have this wonderful personality trait where when they think they're speaking with someone with below average intelligence, they speak very slowly and like, do you understand common? So they're being kind of obnoxious about it.
And he will match you with that. You speak slow, he'll start speaking slow. And if you speak slower, he'll speak slower.
Yeah, perfect.
Caitlin. Haven't heard from you in a while.
Yeah, I'm just going to the bar, and I'm not really concerned with making conversation. I see that Merric has done so. I'm going to I'll order Quentin's favorite drink, whatever that is, from the bartender. Give me whatever Quentin gets when he's had a rough day. He really needs his favorite. And
He says,
I'm trying to yeah, continue.
I was going to say the bartender will pour you a glass of swamp water wine.
The same red stuff.
Yes.
Red stuff that Merric was given. Okay. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. I'm new to these parts. What? Who you here reckon knows the most about the swamp itself? I'm really curious about what's this whole place. I'd like to learn the history. You got any recommendations? Quentin himself probably been around here a long time, of course, but he seems mighty busy.
He'll tell you, if you're looking for a library, you ain't gonna find anything like that around these parts.
No, sir, I ain't looking for a library. I'm looking for a kind older folk who know a lot about the area to tell me them stories. I'd like to hear stories about the swamp. Who's got the best stories?
So that mama got plenty of stories, but she's cooking right now.
Well, ain't that a bear? I'll thank him for his time and walk over this way and passively observe some gambling for a few minutes. See if anybody speaks up and says anything that would make me think that they're a good storyteller, and if so, maybe I'll engage that person. Otherwise, I'm just kind of observing the general feel of people around here. Are there groups? Are there cliques of people? Are they is it too spread out to tell?
I would
Is there any
say,
obvious hostility between any groups of people here? Stuff like that.
besides the kerfuffle earlier, there doesn't seem to be any animosity or tension between individuals or groups.
Okay.
At the card table, as you're trying to observe players, if they catch eye of you standing like behind them or near them, they'll kind of shoot you looks and hide their cards.
They're
Even though
suspicious of me?
they're suspicious of anyone. Yeah, they're suspicious of anyone that is looking over their shoulder while they're playing.
Sure. I didn't mean no offense. Sorry, folks. I'll stand on another part of the table where I can't appear to be cheating for anybody.
Yeah, there's
Make sure I'm
no.
not.
You'll see that they're not playing for large sums of money. There's just like copper and the occasional piece of silver.
Okay. I don't have anything specific else I'd like to do with my time here.
All right. So,
I'm interested in Mama and Quentin, I suppose, who are not available right now.
so with that, Merric, what are you doing at this moment?
Okay, Merric would be sitting at the card table, waiting for the gentleman to eventually get up and come over to him because he didn't pay his bill for his wine.
Wait, what?
Because he didn't pay for the wine that he.
No. What'd you say just before that?
Oh, Merric is sitting at the card table.
Yeah, you're sitting at the card table. Then you said
he's waiting for the gentleman to come over to him because he figures since he stuck him with his bill for his wine that he would eventually come over to him.
that's actually what was going to happen, but I would say that you were prepared for this. So, perception with advantage to tell when he's approaching.
Okay.
Because I would understand if you're sitting at the card table and you're playing cards, right?
No.
You're not?
No. I'm not. I'm just sitting here at the card table, just waiting.
So, what, you're watching for him to come over?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a 20.
Then, in that case, it was already easy for you to see him heading over.
Great.
But he is going to attempt to grapple you.
Okay. I will do an aspect.
Either try to push your way out or you try to worm your way out.
Yeah, dexterity to worm my way out. And say, hold on, friend.
All right.
I just wanted to have a talk.
He's pretty drunk and was trying to grab your shoulder. But it did not quite work out for him.
Okay. I will say, hold on, friend. I just wanted to have a talk. Here's the money for the drink. And some more money to get you another drink. I just wanted to ask some questions from before.
He slaps it from your hand.
I figure if you're strong enough to walk over here and try and grab me and all, you could just ask some questions.
He says, I'm strong enough to do a lot.
Okay. Well, how about I pay you for those answers to said questions?
I ain't answering any questions. So you and me, let's take this outside.
Do we have to do this here, Fred? We really don't have to do this.
Persuasion.
Oh, nice. Crit on an 8.
Huh. So that was not enough to persuade him. He says, fine, we can do it right here.
Questions or you want to fight?
Let me look up your character sheet real quick. So he takes a swing at you, but you're able to move out the way.
Can I would like to. Yeah. Can I grapple him?
You can try, sure.
It's athletics, right?
Yeah, you got him because I rolled. I'm like, unless he hit a nat 1, there's no way you're gonna not grab him. So
Okay.
in what way are you grappling him?
I say I am grappling him with one arm behind his back, putting my other hand around his neck and leading him out the door.
So you're trying to lead him out the door?
Yes, leading this way. Say, I apologize, Mr. Swampwater. Me and this man have a, what do you call it?
A disagreement?
Disagreement. We'll just take this outside, not to disturb your place of business, home.
So I'm going to ask you to stop there for a moment, now that you've gotten that far. I was just about to call you Zeta again. Astur, would you give me a perception check?
4.
So you don't fully hear what he says, but you hear Quentin say something along the lines of, "Ah, shit. Merric, can I get a perception check from you?"
Okay, perception check. Got a 20.
As you're holding him, his skin starts to feel rough and it's discolored.
Rough and discolored. Okay.
Oh, sorry. All right. So, within the next instant, you're no longer holding on to a human man. What you have grappled is a gator man.
Oh man!
Yeah.
Remember when I said maybe the dexterous gators that could play guitar? And we all thought that was a funny, stupid thing to say.
He is indeed a weregator.
He is a weregator. Okay. All right. In feeling this, I will like to, since he is in a fight with me, see if I can shove him out the door.
From that distance, I will say no. And to everyone, roll initiative.
Okay, so how far do I shove him?
I'll just say you shove him 5 feet. He's not up.
So does that mean he's prone when I pushed him?
You know what? Sure. But for a weregator, prone doesn't mean necessarily mean that he's incapacitated.
Well, he could be on his back, so like.
Sorry, Astur.
Yes.
You're close enough to notice this going on because, again, it's quite the commotion. This
Yes.
guy just hulked out and turned into a gator.
Indeed. I wish I had hold person. Would be well.
You know, it's funny. I had put whole person on Gilron, but I think I took it off.
Go figure.
Would it be whole monster though?
No, it's still humanoid. Going to. Yeah, this will be interesting. We'll see what happens. Astur just vanishes.
You use invisibility.
Greater invisibility.
Caitlin, I'm sure you've heard the commotion enough to react.
Okay.
You don't know the specifics, but you know something's going
No.
down at the front.
Absolutely. I'm actually going to creep in this direction. Towards Quentin. And though I may not be engaged with him, I'm just going to point towards my companion, Merric, over there. Give him sort of like, I'm eyeing him. I'm eyeing Quentin and going like, what's going on? Check this out. You know, to show that I'm clearly not trying to hide whatever's going on from him.
So you're just trying to alert Quentin.
I'll prepare if it seems like punches are being thrown. I'll prepare to don my shield and pull out my weapon. But otherwise, I will not actually do that.
Okay.
And so I end my turn.
All right. So we are now on you, Merric.
Go up to the were alligator and be like, "Oh, listen here, friend. I understand this is all my fault. Yes, I am at fault. You have every right to be angry at me, but listen, can't we talk this? We could talk this over, and we could just follow this up very nicely. I mean, I've offered to buy you many drinks as possible. I am not one to throw the first punch, but if need be, I will not hesitate to defend myself. And as my first action, I will take dodge action.
All right. He barks back at you. He's like, I ain't your friend. So that brings us up to Wolfram.
So I've still been talking to this woman about quilting knots versus saddle stitches for probably like 10 minutes now. And so I just kind of look over this commotion and I just sort of watch this man turn into an alligator, and I just is that common around here? Gesturing to that. Asking the woman I've been talking to.
So, much like Quentin's response earlier, she just kind of looks over and goes, "Ah, shit. You folks weren't supposed to see that."
Well, why not? Yeah, ma'am, I am a dragon demon in heavy armor in a swamp. I don't judge. I'm just perturbed a bit, but I've no intention of holding someone's historical or biological imperatives against them. I'm just hoping to make friends in a new area.
She says, it's like folks aren't supposed to know that we exist. But IRL, I'm getting the message from my significant other. My wife is telling me that it's running a bit late, so we will have to end here. It was supposed to be a one shot, but if you want to run it into a second half, we can.
Happy to do a 2-shot.
A 2-shot.
Yeah, I would love to continue on this.
So for now, we will end this here, and I guess this one shot will be a 2-shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will totally spend my first turn just continuing to assure this woman. I mean, I will not judge.
All right, thank you for playing, and I hope that you all enjoyed it, and some pretty good calls on this one. It's like, what if something happens to the cart? Something happened to the cart. It's like, well, what if the gator is playing guitar? It's like, the gator was playing guitar.
Welcome the babysitter who needs to be
This
able
was
to
good.
anticipate these things.
Yeah, I gotta know where the threats are, especially if it's a guitar player in disguise or a gator in disguise. You know, those are very kids are notoriously attracted to gators.
It's like when you have the overly, paranoid players.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thanks
Thanks for
for
the
the
invitation.
game. I'm gonna go eat food. Bye bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Night.